And joining me, as always, from our other part of the world is Jessica Pratt.
Yes,
Jessica... Sorry, you go.
What was that?
As you can see, we're still ironing out the kinks of our dual world headquarters studios.
Yes, as you can see, we're still ironing out the kinks of our dual world headquarters studios.
I just said that.
But now you're not next to me, so I can just pretend you're a voice in my head. Many political observers say that she has her work truly cut out for her. In fact, Breaking News has a photo of her to-do list for this week, which includes 1, stop Dad from befriending dictators, 2, get Dad to be nicer to that good-looking Canadian guy and the grumpy British lady, and 3, get Dad to type without caps lock.
The Sesame Workshop, the owners of the children's television show Sesame Street, has denied a former writer's claim that Bert and Ernie are a couple. Instead, the show's creators insist the beloved pair are simply best friends, a term many same-sex partners have used during Thanksgiving for decades.
To help settle this argument once and for all, it's time for another edition of Breaking News Recaps, Positives and Negatives. We start with the toilet roll paper hanging against the wall. Positives, nothing. Negatives, everything. That concludes this episode of Breaking News Recaps, Positives and Negatives.
This brings the number of high-profile people who have left the administration in the past year to 20. That's enough to run a 4-team basketball tournament where the winning team receives a giant tweet saying you're fired.
Hello, Wesley and viewers. I'm standing outside the Lego store in London, where the brand new Harry Potter Lego set, the 6,020-piece set, has just been released.
Wait, you're looking at Legos when only a few days ago there was a terrorist attack on British Parliament? What happened to groundbreaking journalism and on-the-ground reporting?
Yeah, do you know what? This is a really bad feed. Shh, it's breaking up. Yeah, definitely. Shh, it's bad. This is a bad one, Wes. I'm really sorry. Yeah, cannot hear you. Sorry about that.
Meanwhile, Norwegians, who have free healthcare, free education, and a safe, strong economy, have questioned why on earth they would want to move to the US at all. That's like asking Mickey Mouse to leave Disneyland and become the mascot for Guantanamo Bay.
Parents at a Texas school have complained about a homework assignment asking students to list the positive aspects of slavery. The teacher responsible for the assignment has been placed on leave, while the textbook entitled Slavery, Terrorism and Holocausts, you can kind of see their point, has been taken off the curriculum.
Staying with politics, President Trump has announced he wants to redesign Air Force One. According to reports, Mr. Trump wants to add a splash of red to the outside in order to make it look more American, as well as a bigger, more comfortable bed. The president has also put in a request for extra pillows and blankies, for better fort building when Vladimir comes around for a sleepover.
Moving on to entertainment news. Fans of the beloved television series Doctor Who are singing the praises of Jodie Whittaker, the first female doctor in the show's 55-year history. While considered high praise, Whittaker shouldn't get too ahead of herself, as she wasn't the only woman on TV this month that had the general public commenting on how believable and authentic she was. And look how that turned out.
White House Chief of Staff John Kelly has said it's fine to separate immigrant parents from their children at the southern border because the children will be put into foster care or whatever. While Kelly didn't clarify what he meant by whatever, there are numerous possibilities. From New York City, the greatest city in the world, I'm Wesley Newfarmer. And joining me from somewhere else is Jessica Pratt.
Thank you, Wesley. By the way, is New York City paying you to endorse it? Kind of like that time you had the contract with Lucky Strike.
When there's news to break, you need a reliable voice. Nothing clears the throat better than good old Lucky Strike cigarettes. Lucky Strike, the voice of clarity. I still don't know what all the fuss was about. On with the news.
The US Attorney General Jeff Sessions wants to put an end to the legalization of marijuana. Sessions pointed out a number of reasons for this, but the main one being that he's had enough of stoners patting him on the head and wishing for a pot of gold.
We start tonight with Tina Freeman, a Nashville woman who delivered her own baby in a hotel room. The 22-year-old said she just did what any young millennial would do in her place. She YouTubed instructions on how to do it. While the mother and baby are both doing fine, she has been criticized for not filming the birth and creating the first YouTube human unboxing video.
Similar to the way Al Capone was brought down for income tax evasion and not bootlegging and murder, as might be the case for President Trump. It seems Trump might be in more trouble over his affairs than he could be for colluding with Russians to win an election. 2 women have now come forward to say that money was spent during the campaign to keep them quiet about their affairs with Donald Trump. Technically, this is considered a contribution to the Trump campaign because it was paid for the purpose of influencing voters in a general election and therefore should have been publicly reported. But it wasn't. So what's the lesson we can all take away from this saga? Well, it's quite simple. If you want something done, and I'm talking to you, Robert Mueller and the FBI, send a woman in to do it.
This just in a chocoholic's worst nightmare, a truck carrying liquid chocolate overturned on a Polish highway, causing chaos for commuters and authorities. The traffic buildup took hours to clear, mainly because of the amount of people racing from their cars claiming, "I'll start my diet tomorrow." Why should we care?
Because chocolate is the only thing that brings me happiness, Wesley.
Based on this logic, we decided to open up the breaking news comparison box.
In a message of support, pop superstar Janet Jackson tweeted, "Don't worry ladies, it happens to the breast of us."
That movie is super dated.